Hello, is this thing on? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Market360 here, back with another video. And yep, you know it. I had to talk about it. I had to. I'm sorry. What? Wait a minute. What is happening? So, like in the last video I made, I was kind of ranting about modern day gaming and how it just don't feel like it ain't hitting like it used to. And so I was aware of the PS5 Pro, right? Like we were all aware of it. Sony had been kind of like teasing it for a bit. This was something we all saw coming. Um, but I don't think we saw this. Like, I'm gonna try not to curse. I'm gonna do my best not to curse because I I probably shouldn't even recorded this video right now because my thoughts are all over the place right now. $700. That is $699. And as you can see, there is no physical disc tray on this thing. The physical disc tray sold separately cost $80 by itself. And they don't even say it. Like, right, they're not even bold enough to say disc drive sold separately, right? They put vertical stand sold separately, which that in of itself is just like, are you serious? You couldn't include a $20 stand. So in order to stand it up vertically, I have to pay you an extra $20 in order to use the freaking in order to use the disc that I have been using this whole entire time. I have to pay you an extra $80 on top of $700. Are they crazy? like, like what is it just me or are they crazy? Because they got to be crazy, right? And before you try to say, well, you're just not a hardcore, look at my setup. Like, look, it's not that I don't have money, right? Like, you can see my gaming setup. You can clearly see what is in front of my television at this time, right? Like, look over there. There's a PS5, there's a PS3, there's an Xbox. I mean, everything. There's all these games. It's not that I'm unwilling to spend $700, right? Like, that's not the problem. The problem is you have to convince me to spend $700, and you haven't convinced me. Like, what was that presentation? Well, the trees in the background now look better. Who cares? Like, is it making me a better gamer? Like, do the background trees being sharper somehow make me a better gamer? And they started off with The Last of Us 2 again. Sony, how many times are you going to show us The Last of Us 2? That was a PS4 game, Sony. Did you not have anything else? Do not have anything else. They didn't have nothing new to show. Like, this is, I mean, my mind is blown right now. I mean, they showed mostly all their first party titles, right? Which you'd expect because, it's Sony, right? They showed their games. But all their games on the PS5 up to this point have run fine, right? They run at a pretty good 60 frames per second clip without any issues. The games that don't run very well, though, the ones that actually have issues, are the third party games. Games like Black Myth Wukong, which barely run on the PlayStation 5. Games like Dragon's Dogma 2, which can't hit 60 FPS consistently. Games like A Plague Tale Resistance, which, if I'm not mistaken, didn't that game come out at 30 FPS and everybody was pissed off? So, this is what I don't understand. Like, you showed a bunch of games that already ran good on the PS5, running slightly better on PS4 Pro. But what about the games that barely run well on the PS5 itself? Like, you could have showed those on the PS5 Pro actually running like you promised games would run on the PS5. I'm just like, wait a minute. So the promise at the beginning of this generation was 4K 60, and now you're saying, oh, but this time we actually achieved it. Are you kidding me? I just, like, I don't know if I'm just getting old or what, but this is absolutely unfathomable. Like, Sony ain't been this bold since the PS3. And look, the PS3 was my favorite console, right? In hindsight, looking back on the PS3, I understand why it was $599 at launch. That was still ridiculous. That was still ridiculous. But I understand because it was doing so much, right? Like Blu-ray was a completely new concept, and it was huge. Like it could hold games twice as large as any DVD. It was a huge thing. The PS3 was capable of so much out the box. Like, I mean, it was nuts. Like, you could hook a printer up to the PS3 and print pictures for some reason. Like, it was that crazy. You could literally install a whole nother operating system on the PS3. Like, it was that crazy. The PS5 don't do none of that. The PS5 don't do none of that. I can't even go as far as to I can't even go as far as to record MP3s on my PS5. Like, what? Like, I'm just woosah. Woosah. I'm sorry, but I'm out. I'm all the way out. Sony, you crazy. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know whose idea this was. And then, right, so look, it just came out the other day that Sony quietly raised the price of PS5 DualSense controllers, right? They're $5 more. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, wait a minute, $5 more? Don't they still get stick drift? Like, what do you mean $5? They were already $70 a piece. Now you want us to pay $75? And then the really good colors are now $80. And you just want to be like, so do you do realize things are supposed to get less expensive every year, not higher? Like, huh? What? I don't understand. Like, just like, can someone explain to me, like, the people that are actually considering this? Why? And before you say GTA 6, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to make my first prediction. GTA 6 will not run at 60 FPS on PS5. I'm sorry. I know y'all are hyped for it. Y'all want it to happen. GTA 6 is not going to run at 60 FPS on the PS5 or the PS5 Pro. No, it won't. See, what's going to happen is because Rockstar they finna make their money regardless. They don't care what Sony's doing. They finna make their money regardless. So GTA 6 on the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? On the PS5 base model, it will run at 4K, 30 FPS, more like a dynamic 4K, probably 1440p. You know how they will label it as 4K with an asterisk, right? At 30 FPS. But the PS5 Pro version will run at actual 4K, 30 FPS with ray tracing. And the car is going to look tight and it's going to be ray traced. It will not run at 60 FPS. There will be no performance mode running at 60 FPS. I'm calling it now. You can mark this down the calendar. If I'm wrong, then so be it. But it won't. No, they're going to wait until the PS6 version, and then that version will run at 60 FPS. And y'all will be sitting there like, what the hell? But like I said, Rockstar is going to get their money regardless. Look at the PlayStation. Look at GTA 5 on the PS3 and the 360, right? It comes out in 2013. It runs at 30 FPS. It barely runs, right? It barely ran on those. But it ran at 1080p, 30 FPS. Fast forward to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now it runs at 1080p, 30 FPS. That's like, great. Fast forward to the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. They didn't do shit. They was like, no, no. They didn't do nothing. Fast forward again to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Now it runs at 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing. So that's how long it took just to get GTA 5 running in 4K 60 FPS. It took a decade essentially, right? I'm telling you now, GTA 6 is not running at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro. You can wipe those dreams out of your mind. Rockstar does not care. They do not care about what Sony got going on. They're going to overload this game with as much content as they possibly can. The visuals will look absolutely insane. It's probably going to be a massive map with a whole bunch of interiors, dynamic fog, all this crazy particle effects. It will run at 30 frames per second. It will run at 30 frames per second because Rockstar wants it to look absolutely stunning. And in order for you to get 60, you will wait a year later for the PC version, which will run at whatever performance you can get out of your PC. 60 if you got it. It's gonna take a beefy PC for that. And then a year after that, when the PS5 or when the actual PS6 launches, then you console gamers will finally get GTA 6 at 60 FPS. You're not getting it on the PS5 Pro. And that's going to be the linchpin, right? Everyone's going to buy a PS5 Pro with the hopes that GTA 6 will run at 60 FPS. Like that's the whole reason anyone even considering it. And if it does not, like, because I mean, as you can see in this presentation, the GTA wasn't even mentioned, right? Like, Rockstar's not showing you nothing right now. You still got a whole year; they're not showing you nothing. So everyone is buying this with the hopes that GTA 6 will run at 60, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's gotta run at 60, right? Because it's the PS5 Pro." Like, of course. I don't believe it. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I believe that Rockstar will do whatever the hell they want to, and they're not gonna drop it at 60 FPS. They're not. They want the game to look as visually stunning as possible, and they can't do it at 60 FPS on the they can't do it at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro or even the base PS5. So they're going to wait. They'll just run it at 30 and wait till the PS6. And they have no problem with recharging you again for another PlayStation, for another version. They don't care. Yeah, I don't understand. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. November the 7th, 2024, $6.99, no disc drive. Sony knew they were selling people PS5 disc out here. They knew that multiple people had purchased PS5 disc. They have in the millions, sold multiple games on disc. And they had the goal to come out here and drop this bitch for, I said I was going to curse. That's how I was gonna, and drop this thing for $700 without a disc drive. Sony has officially jumped the shark. They have officially jumped the shark. Look, Microsoft, I'm going to need you to get off your ass and actually compete because this is starting to get ridiculous. Look, go ahead and just retract that whole, retract that whole Indiana Jones on PlayStation. They don't even deserve it at this point. They don't even deserve it. Retract that. Put all your games only on your system. Sell your shit. Drop the price by $40, $50, whatever. And because Sony losing their mind. They losing their absolute rabbit ass mind. I'm sorry. They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. No wonder their CEO retired. Because everybody was blaming him for everything, right? I forget. I should have looked it up. I forget homeboy's name, but everybody was blaming him for everything negative. So he saw what was coming. He's like, y'all trying to drop this bitch for $700 without a disc drive? Yeah, deuces. I'm out of here because they ain't blaming me. They ain't blaming me. He retired real quick. And then this coming off the heels of them telling us that they don't have any they don't have any from the ground up IPs that they can take advantage of. And you want to just be like, so y'all ain't got no IPs and y'all out here trying to sell us a $700 console? For what? Apparently y'all admit y'all ain't got no games. What am I buying this for? Like Astrobot at 4K 60? Whoop-de-doo. Like, I'm sorry, but what? I don't. You want me to buy this so I can run The Last of Us 2 again at 4K 60 now? The actual 4K 60 that you promised last time? Like, damn, how many different versions of The Last of Us 2? Like, you got the original release on PS4. Then you got the PS4 Pro enhanced version. Then you got the original release running on PS5. And then you got the PS5 remaster. And now you got the PS5 remaster running on PS5 Pro. How many times are we going to play The Last of Us 2? Like, are you serious? Y'all, I'm about done. I'm about done. Look, I got a PS3. I got an Xbox 360. My PS3 is backwards compatible with PS2 and PS1. I got an Xbox. I got an original Xbox. I'm about done. Modern gaming can kiss my I'm about done with anything past the Xbox 360. Like even like the Xbox One and the PS4, I'm tentatively like playing those games. But anything past that, I'm just done. Cause this is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like they haven't even delivered anything of note this generation. It's like they show off all these games. They showed off God of War Ragnarok that ran on the PS4. It's like that was essentially a PS4 game. They show off Horizon Forbidden West that also ran on the PS4. Spider-Man 2 was exclusive to the PS5. Barely. Like I feel like they could have ran it on PS4. They just didn't because they knew it would look bad. I'm just this generation, man. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. At this point, I'm so just like what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what is happening right now? Y'all, look, this just been another video. This me ranting and raving. Sony done lost their absolute mind. If I ever get a PS5 Pro, somehow I don't think I'm ever buying that. Like, it could be like 5 years from now and it could be in a bargain bin. I'm gonna look at it like, why? I still have my PS5. Like, I just, I don't know. Y'all take care. See you in the next one.